There is a moment, and perhaps you have lived it without naming it, when a child takes a step backward for the first time. Not a stumble, not a fall caught by a parent's hand, a deliberate, chosen reversal. Watch closely next time you see it happen. The child's eyes widen, the breath catches, the entire body lights up with a kind of electrical attention that forward walking lost months ago. Every muscle recalibrates, every sense sharpens. The ground beneath the foot becomes, for a brief and startling instant, completely unknown territory. And in that unknowing, something ancient stirs, something the body recognizes even if the mind has no word for it. A reset. Not a metaphor for a reset. An actual, measurable, neurological event in which the brain abandons its cached predictions and rebuilds its model of reality from the raw data of the present moment. You felt this once. You have not felt it in a very long time. And what I want to explore with you today is why that matters far more than you think. Why the direction of your movement is not a trivial detail, but a fundamental instruction to your nervous system about whether to decay or regenerate. And why an act as disarmingly simple as reversing your gait for a few minutes each day can interrupt a biological program that most people mistake for the unavoidable cost of being alive. This is not about exercise. This is about what happens when you force the oldest, most automated system in your body to encounter something it cannot predict. Let me take you somewhere specific first. Because the idea that movement direction matters to biology did not begin in a neuroscience lab. It began, or at least it was encoded, in a set of teachings attributed to Thoth, the figure the ancient Egyptians called the architect of wisdom, the keeper of time, the scribe who supposedly understood the mechanics of aging well enough to reverse them. Now, I am not asking you to believe in a mythological figure. I am asking you to notice something interesting about the teaching itself. In the Hermetic tradition that traces its lineage to Thoth, there is a principle sometimes called the law of reversal. It appears in different forms across the texts, but its essence is this: any pattern that has been running long enough to become unconscious has also been running long enough to become a prison. And the way to break a prison made of habit is not to add more force in the same direction, but to reverse the direction entirely. The Kybalion, one of the key Hermetic texts, puts it in terms of polarity. Everything has its pair of opposites, and opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Heat and cold are the same thing at different points on a single scale. The teaching suggests that you do not escape a low state by fighting it head-on. You escape it by moving along the same axis in the opposite direction. You transmute. You reverse. Now hold that idea for a moment, because it is about to collide with something very concrete. In 2019, a research team at the University of Oregon published work on what neuroscientists call error-dependent neuroplasticity. The core finding is deceptively simple. The human brain does not learn from success. It learns from prediction errors. When the cerebellum sends a motor command and the outcome matches the prediction, nothing new is encoded. The system hums along on autopilot, conserving energy, maintaining the status quo. But when the outcome deviates from the prediction, when the foot lands at an angle the brain did not expect, when the weight shifts in a direction the spinal cord has no stored template for, a cascade of molecular events begins. Calcium ions flood into Purkinje cells in the cerebellar cortex. Synaptic weights are adjusted. New dendritic spines begin to form. The brain, in that moment of error, is not failing. It is building. It is doing the one thing that forward, predictable, automated movement cannot make it do. It is growing. This is the biological mechanism underneath the Hermetic principle of reversal. The ancients encoded it in symbolic language. The neuroscientists describe it in terms of calcium signaling and synaptic plasticity. But the instruction is the same. To regenerate, you must first confuse the system that has been running on autopilot. You must introduce a stimulus so unfamiliar that the brain has no choice but to wake up and pay attention. And the simplest, most accessible way to do that turns out to be walking backward. If you can feel the depth of what we have just uncovered, there is something more I want to offer. Have you spent years chasing manifestation, visualizing, affirming, raising your vibration, only to watch the same patterns repeat? Every traditional method assumes the same thing, that you are separate from what you want. That separation was never real. You were chasing a signal you were already broadcasting. Beyond the frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery walks through all 9 frequencies, from the dense transmissions trapping you through the ascending currents to the master frequencies where consciousness becomes the field. Every method you tried sent a signal outward. This one tunes the signal you already are. Every day you delay, your nervous system broadcasts the same old signal, and breaking free gets harder. So move on it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now let us go deeper into exactly why this reversal works at the level of your anatomy. I want you to understand why this works at the level of specific anatomy, because the specificity is what separates a real mechanism from a pleasant idea. When you walk forward, the movement is controlled almost entirely by subcortical circuits. The central pattern generators in your spinal cord handle the basic rhythm of the gait cycle. The cerebellum fine-tunes the timing. The basal ganglia manage the initiation and termination of each step. The cortex, your conscious brain, is essentially free. It can think about dinner, replay a conversation, worry about next week. It does not need to be involved in the act of walking, because the act of walking has been so thoroughly automated that it requires almost no top-down processing. This is efficient. It is also, over decades, quietly catastrophic. Here is why. The motor cortex, the premotor cortex, the supplementary motor area, and the posterior parietal cortex are all regions involved in motor planning, spatial awareness, and the integration of sensory information with movement. During automated forward walking, these regions receive almost no activation. They are not challenged. They are not recruited. And like any neural tissue that goes unchallenged for long enough, they begin to atrophy. The technical term is use-dependent plasticity, and it cuts both ways. Use a circuit, and it strengthens. Neglect a circuit, and it weakens. The regions of your brain responsible for balance, coordination, spatial orientation, and motor learning are slowly, silently degrading, not because of time, but because of the absence of demand. This is what the source tradition was pointing at when it described aging as a program rather than a sentence. The program is not written in your genes. It is written in your habits, specifically in the monotony of your movement patterns. You take roughly 6,000 to 8,000 steps per day if you are moderately active, and virtually every one of those steps follows the same biomechanical template. Heel strike, midfoot roll, toe off, the same joint angles, the same muscle recruitment sequence, the same neural pathway firing in the same order. Multiply that by 365 days, then by 20, 30, 40 years. You are looking at tens of millions of identical repetitions carving the same groove deeper and deeper into your nervous system, while the rest of the motor landscape goes fallow. Now reverse it. Literally. When you take a step backward, the entire biomechanical chain inverts. Instead of heel strike, you land on the ball of the foot first, then roll toward the heel. Instead of the quadriceps contracting eccentrically to decelerate the tibia, it contracts concentrically to propel the leg behind you. The hip extensors and the gluteal muscles, which are largely passive during forward gait, suddenly become primary movers. The calf muscles engage in a completely different timing pattern. The ankle stabilizers, many of which have been essentially dormant during decades of flat-surface forward walking, are forced to manage a load they have not experienced since childhood. But the real revolution is not in the muscles, it is in the brain. There is no established central pattern generator for backward walking. The spinal cord does not have a cached template for this movement, which means the cerebellum cannot delegate it to autopilot. The motor cortex must engage. The premotor cortex must plan each step in real time. The posterior parietal cortex must integrate proprioceptive information, the sense of where your body is in space, with visual information that is now flowing in the wrong direction. The vestibular system, the inner ear apparatus that manages balance, receives an input pattern it has almost never encountered in the context of locomotion. Every one of these systems is suddenly under load. Every one of them is generating prediction errors, and every prediction error is a signal to build. A 2021 study published in the journal Neurorehabilitation and Neural Repair measured cortical activation during backward walking using functional near-infrared spectroscopy. The researchers found that backward walking produced significantly greater activation in the prefrontal cortex and the supplementary motor area compared to forward walking at the same speed. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for executive function, attention, and cognitive flexibility. The region that degrades most visibly in age-related cognitive decline. Backward walking was lighting it up like a circuit that had been dark for years and suddenly received power. This is not a small finding. This is a direct, measurable demonstration that the direction of your movement changes which parts of your brain are active, which parts are being maintained, and which parts are being allowed to decay. If this is resonating with you, if you can feel something shifting in the way you understand your own body, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so we can continue exploring these ideas together. And here is where the ancient teaching and the modern science converge on something that neither one, taken alone, fully articulates. The body does not have a separate aging clock. It has an adaptation clock. When the system is adapting, when it is encountering novelty, correcting errors, building new pathways, it is in a regenerative state. When the system is repeating, conserving, running cached programs without deviation, it is in a degenerative state. These are not metaphors. They correspond to measurable shifts in gene expression. A 2017 paper in the journal Cell Reports demonstrated that novel motor learning activates brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, in the hippocampus and motor cortex. BDNF is sometimes called the brain's fertilizer. It promotes the survival of existing neurons, encourages the growth of new neurons and synapses, and is one of the key molecular signals that distinguishes a brain that is building from a brain that is declining. Repetitive, automated movement does not trigger significant BDNF release. Novel, error-rich movement does. So when the Hermetic texts say that reversal is the key to transmutation, they are describing, in the language available to them, a biological truth. Reverse the pattern, and you reverse the signaling cascade from degeneration to regeneration. Not because of magic, because of neuroplasticity, because of BDNF, because of the cerebellum's fundamental architecture, which is designed to learn from error and to stagnate in the absence of it. Now I want to take this deeper, because so far we have been talking about the brain, and the brain is only half the story. The other half lives in your joints, and specifically in the joint that most people over 40 have quietly accepted as a lost cause: the knee. Here is what most people do not know about knee pain. The cartilage that lines the surfaces of your knee joint, the articular cartilage, has no direct blood supply. It is avascular. It receives its nutrients through a process called imbibition, which is essentially the mechanical pumping of synovial fluid into and out of the cartilage matrix through cycles of compression and decompression. When you load the cartilage, fluid is squeezed out. When you unload it, fluid is drawn back in, carrying oxygen and nutrients with it. This means that cartilage health is entirely dependent on the variety and distribution of mechanical loading. If you compress the same region of cartilage at the same angle through the same range of motion tens of thousands of times per day, that region becomes overloaded and undernourished. The fluid cannot cycle properly because the compression pattern never changes. Meanwhile, adjacent regions of cartilage that are not being loaded at all receive no nutrient delivery whatsoever. They starve in silence. Forward walking produces a very specific and very repetitive loading pattern on the patellofemoral joint, the joint between the kneecap and the femur. During the braking phase of each forward step, the quadriceps contracts eccentrically, pulling the patella hard against the femoral groove. The compressive force at this joint can reach 2 to 3 times body weight during normal walking and up to 5 times body weight during stair descent. This force is applied at the same angle, through the same arc, step after step, year after year. The cartilage in the loaded zone degrades. The cartilage in the unloaded zone atrophies, and the person attributes the resulting pain to aging, as if time itself were grinding their joints down, when in reality it is the monotony of the loading pattern that is doing the damage. Backward walking changes the loading pattern completely. A study published in the Journal of Biomechanics measured patellofemoral joint forces during forward and backward walking, and found that backward walking reduced the compressive force on the patellofemoral joint by approximately 30 to 40%. The reason is biomechanical. During backward walking, the quadriceps contracts concentrically rather than eccentrically. Instead of braking against the ground, it is propelling the leg behind the body. The patella tracks differently through the femoral groove. Regions of cartilage that have been chronically overloaded during decades of forward walking are suddenly relieved. Regions that have been chronically underloaded are suddenly compressed. Synovial fluid circulates through areas of the cartilage matrix that have not received adequate nutrition in years. The joint, for the first time in perhaps decades, is experiencing a varied mechanical environment. I want to ask you something here. Think about the patterns in your own life, not just physical movement, but the mental and emotional loops you run on autopilot every single day. What is the one pattern you have been repeating the longest? The one that has become so automatic you barely notice it anymore? Drop that in the comments. Sometimes naming the pattern is the first step in reversing it. This is not a cure. I want to be precise about that. Cartilage that has been destroyed cannot be rebuilt by walking backward, but cartilage that is inflamed, undernourished, and caught in a repetitive loading cycle can be given a profoundly different stimulus, and the body's response to that stimulus is measurable. Reduced inflammation, improved synovial fluid distribution, decreased pain. Not because the joint is being rested, but because it is finally being used in a way that matches its design, which was never meant for monotony. There is a teaching in Taoist philosophy that is relevant here, and I want to bring it in because it illuminates something the biomechanics alone cannot explain. The Taoists spoke of Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, but more accurately understood as action that does not fight the natural grain of things. The opposite of Wu Wei is not effort. It is forcing, pushing against the current, applying more of the same when the same is clearly not working. Most people, when they experience knee pain or stiffness, or the creeping sense that their body is becoming less responsive, react by either doing more of what they have always done, walking more, stretching more, pushing through, or by doing nothing, surrendering to the idea that this is simply what happens. Neither response addresses the actual problem, which is not a lack of movement or an excess of movement, but a lack of movement variety. The joints are not asking for more. They are asking for different. And different, in this case, means reversing the direction of the most automated pattern in your physical life. The Taoist monks who practiced walking backward were not doing physical therapy. They were enacting a principle. The principle that stagnation is not overcome by intensifying the existing flow, but by redirecting it. They walked backward through gardens and along mountain paths, and the tradition holds that this practice was associated with longevity, mental clarity, and what they called the return of the original ki, the vital energy of youth. We can translate that into modern language without losing anything essential. The return of the original chi is the reactivation of neural circuits and biological processes that have gone dormant under the weight of automation. It is BDNF flooding the hippocampus. It is Purkinje cells in the cerebellum firing correction signals they have not fired in decades. It is synovial fluid reaching cartilage surfaces that have been starving. It is the prefrontal cortex lighting up during a movement that the subcortical systems cannot handle alone. The Taoists did not have fMRI machines. They had attention. They noticed that when they reversed their movement, something changed in the quality of their awareness, in the responsiveness of their bodies, in the way time seemed to move. And they were right, something did change. We can now name the specific neural and biomechanical events that constitute that change, but the noticing came first. The science is catching up to the observation, not the other way around. I want to pause here and invite you into something, not an idea, an experience. If you are somewhere safe right now, somewhere with a few feet of clear space behind you, stand up. If you cannot stand, you can do a version of this seated, which I will describe in a moment. But if you can stand, do it now. Plant your feet hip-width apart. Let your arms hang naturally. Take one breath, a full one, in through the nose, expanding the belly, then a slow exhale through the mouth. Now, without turning around, take one single step backward. Slowly. Begin by lifting the foot and reaching the toes back behind you. Let the ball of the foot touch the ground first. Then slowly roll the weight back toward the heel. Feel the calf engage. Feel the ankle stabilize. Feel the subtle wobble as your balance system recalibrates. Now take a second step. The other foot. Same thing. Toe reaches back. Ball of the foot finds the ground. Weight rolls slowly to the heel. Notice what is happening in your attention. Notice where your mind is. It is not wandering. It is not planning. It is here. It is in the foot, in the ankle, in the strange and unfamiliar sensation of moving through space in a direction your body has almost no practice with. That heightened attention, that sudden sharpness of awareness, that feeling of being a beginner again, is not a side effect. It is the point. It is the neurological state in which your brain shifts from maintenance mode to building mode. It is the state in which BDNF is released, in which new synaptic connections are formed, in which the motor cortex and prefrontal cortex are recruited into a task that the autopilot cannot handle. You are not exercising. You are interrupting a program. And in the space created by that interruption, something older and more intelligent than the program begins to reassert itself. If you are seated, here is your version. Close your eyes. Place both feet flat on the floor. Now, very slowly, slide one foot backward along the floor, feeling every texture, every vibration, every shift in pressure. Slide it back until the leg is extended behind the chair, then slowly draw it forward again. Do the same with the other foot. The key is slowness and attention. The nervous system responds to the quality of attention you bring to a movement, not just the movement itself. A slow, attentive, reversed movement performed while seated will generate more neuroplastic signaling than a brisk forward walk performed on autopilot. Now let me take you into a dimension of this that is rarely discussed, because it connects the physical practice to something much larger. There is a concept in quantum biology, still emerging and still debated, but increasingly supported by experimental evidence, that has to do with coherence. In physics, coherence refers to a state in which waves are synchronized, their peaks and troughs aligned, so that they reinforce each other rather than canceling each other out. A laser is coherent light. The waves are in phase, and the result is a beam of extraordinary focus and power. Ordinary light is incoherent. The waves are out of phase, scattered, diffuse. In biological systems, coherence appears at scales that classical physics said it should not. The most well-known example is photosynthesis. In 2007, a team led by Graham Fleming at the University of California, Berkeley, demonstrated that energy transfer in photosynthetic complexes occurs through quantum coherence. The energy does not hop randomly from molecule to molecule. It travels simultaneously along all possible pathways in a superposition of states and arrives at the reaction center with near-perfect efficiency. The system is not classical. It is quantum, and it is coherent. The question that has haunted quantum biology ever since is whether coherence plays a role in other biological processes. There is growing evidence that it does. Quantum coherence has been implicated in the mechanism by which birds navigate using the Earth's magnetic field, through a process involving cryptochrome proteins in the retina that maintain entangled electron spin states long enough to detect magnetic orientation. It has been proposed as a factor in enzyme catalysis, in the sense of smell, and, most controversially, in the operation of neural microtubules, the tiny protein structures inside neurons that Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff have argued may be the site of quantum computation in the brain. I am not asking you to accept the Penrose-Hameroff theory as settled science. It is not. But I am asking you to consider the principle underneath it, which is this. Biological systems appear to function at their highest level when they are in a state of coherence, when their components are synchronized, in phase, reinforcing each other. And biological systems appear to degrade when they fall into incoherence, when the components fall out of phase, when the signals become scattered and the system loses its internal alignment. Now map this onto what we have been discussing about movement and the nervous system. A body that has been performing the same automated movement pattern for decades is not in a state of coherence. It is in a state of consolidated incoherence. The signals are predictable, yes, but they are also impoverished. The motor cortex is disengaged. The cerebellum is running on cached predictions. The proprioceptive system is receiving monotonous input. The vestibular system is unchallenged. The system is not synchronized. It is stagnant. It has the appearance of order, but it is the order of a machine running the same loop, not the order of a living system in dynamic balance. When you introduce a novel movement, particularly one that reverses the dominant pattern, you force the system out of its cached state and into a state of active recalibration. The cerebellum must communicate with the motor cortex. The motor cortex must communicate with the parietal cortex. The vestibular system must reconcile its input with the proprioceptive input and the visual input, all of which are now arriving in unfamiliar configurations. The system is, for a brief and potent window, in a state of high-demand integration. Every subsystem is talking to every other subsystem. The signals are no longer monotonous. They are rich, varied, and urgent. This is what coherence looks like in a living nervous system. Not the absence of challenge, but the presence of full system engagement. Not the repetition of a known pattern, but the real-time construction of a new one, requiring every part of the system to participate, to synchronize, to find alignment not through habit, but through active, present-moment coordination. The ancient traditions had a word for this state. Several words, actually, depending on the tradition. The Egyptians associated it with Ma'at, the principle of cosmic order and alignment. The Taoists called it being in the Tao, moving in harmony with the natural flow. The yogic tradition calls it sattva, the quality of clarity, harmony, and balance. In each case, the state is not passive. It is not relaxation. It is a condition of heightened integration in which every part of the system is awake, engaged, and aligned with every other part. And in each case, the path to that state involves a disruption of the habitual. You do not arrive at coherence by doing what you have always done. You arrive at it by breaking the pattern that has been masking the incoherence underneath. This is why 3 minutes of backward walking can produce effects that 3 hours of forward walking cannot. It is not about the duration. It is not about the caloric expenditure. It is about the quality of the neural demand. 3 minutes of movement that the brain cannot automate is 3 minutes of full system coherence. 3 minutes in which the nervous system is forced out of its energy-saving mode and into its building mode. 3 minutes in which the biological signals shift from maintenance to regeneration. And here is the part that connects this to something even larger than physical health. The nervous system is not separate from consciousness. This is obvious when you say it, but its implications are radical. The state of your nervous system is the state of your experience. When the nervous system is in autopilot, consciousness is in autopilot. When the nervous system is stagnant, perception is stagnant. When the nervous system is engaged in full system integration, consciousness is engaged in full system integration. The quality of your awareness is not independent of the quality of your neural activity. They are the same event, observed from two different angles, which means that the practice of reversing your movement is not only a physical intervention, it is a consciousness intervention. When you walk backward with full attention, you are not just building new synapses, you are entering a state of awareness that automated forward movement has been blocking. The mental fog that people attribute to aging, the sense of time speeding up, the feeling of being on autopilot in your own life, these are not symptoms of old age. They are symptoms of neural automation. They are what it feels like to have a nervous system that has stopped encountering novelty, stopped generating prediction errors, stopped building. Reverse the movement, and you reverse the perceptual state. Not as a metaphor, as a direct neurological consequence. I am curious about something. Have you ever had a moment, maybe during travel, maybe during a completely unexpected experience, where time suddenly seemed to slow down and everything became vivid again, almost like being a child? Tell me about that moment in the comments, because what we are talking about here is how to create that state deliberately every single day. There is a phenomenon that almost everyone has noticed, but few have examined closely. When you were a child, time moved slowly. A summer lasted forever. A single afternoon could contain what felt like a lifetime of experience. As you aged, time accelerated. Years began to blur together. Seasons passed before you fully registered them. The conventional explanation is that this is a perceptual illusion related to the ratio of a given time period to your total life experience. A year is a larger fraction of a 5-year-old's life than a 50-year-old's life, so it feels longer. But there is a more interesting explanation, and it comes from neuroscience. The perception of time duration is closely linked to the density of new information being processed. When the brain is encountering novel stimuli, processing new information, correcting prediction errors, time feels slower because more neural events are occurring per unit of clock time. When the brain is on autopilot, running cached predictions with minimal new processing, time feels faster because fewer neural events are occurring. The subjective experience of time is not a clock. It is a measure of neural activity density. A child's brain is in a constant state of novelty processing. Everything is new. Every movement, every sensation, every social interaction is generating prediction errors and triggering learning cascades. The brain is maximally active, and time feels maximally long. An adult's brain, particularly one locked into repetitive routines and automated movement patterns, is in a state of minimal novelty processing. The predictions are cached. The patterns are consolidated. The brain is in energy-saving mode, and time flies. This means that the experience of time speeding up as you age is not inevitable. It is a function of how much novelty your nervous system is encountering. Introduce genuine novelty, the kind that forces full system engagement and generates real prediction errors, and the subjective experience of time changes. Not because you have altered the clock, but because you have watered the density of conscious processing occurring within each moment. Walking backward, practiced with full attention, is one of the most accessible ways to introduce this kind of novelty. It is simple enough that anyone can do it. It is novel enough that the brain cannot automate it. And it engages enough systems simultaneously: motor, vestibular, proprioceptive, visual, attentional, that the neural activity density during those few minutes is dramatically higher than during routine forward movement. The ancient Egyptians spoke of Thoth as the master of time. The Hermetic texts describe techniques for altering the experience of temporal flow. We can now understand what they were pointing at in precise neurological terms. Mastering time is not about stopping the clock. It is about increasing the density of conscious experience within each unit of time. And you do that by waking the nervous system out of its automated state, by forcing it to engage with the present moment at full capacity, by reversing the patterns that have lulled it into the low metabolic cost mode that feels like time rushing past you. 3 minutes of backward walking is not just a physical exercise. It is a temporal intervention. It is a way of reclaiming the felt duration of your life by reclaiming the neural engagement that duration depends on. Let me bring this back to the body one more time, because there is a specific mechanism I have not yet named, and it matters. Your proprioceptive system is a network of sensors embedded in your muscles, tendons, and joint capsules that constantly report to the brain about the position and movement of every part of your body. This system is what allows you to close your eyes and touch your nose. It is what allows you to walk without looking at your feet. It is, in many ways, the foundation of your physical relationship with reality, because it is the system that tells you where you are in space. Proprioceptive acuity declines with age. This is well documented. The sensors become less sensitive. The signals become noisier. The brain's internal model of the body becomes less accurate. This is why older adults are more likely to fall, why balance deteriorates, why movements become less precise. But here is the critical point. The decline in proprioceptive acuity is not primarily caused by sensor degradation. It is primarily caused by lack of challenge. The proprioceptive system, like every other neural system, is use-dependent. Challenge it, and it maintains its sensitivity. Neglect it, and it atrophies. Forward walking on flat surfaces provides almost no proprioceptive challenge. The surfaces are predictable. The movement is automated. The brain does not need to consult the proprioceptive system in any detailed way because it already knows, from millions of prior repetitions, exactly where every body part is going to be at every phase of the gait cycle. The proprioceptive sensors are still firing, but the brain is barely listening. It is like having a conversation in a language you have heard so many times that you stop processing the words. Backward walking forces the brain to listen again. The movement is unfamiliar. The surfaces, even if they are the same surfaces you walk forward on every day, are being encountered in an unfamiliar sequence. The proprioceptive signals are novel, and the brain must process them in real time because it has no cached prediction to fall back on. The sensors are activated. The signals are attended to. The internal model of the body is updated. Proprioceptive acuity, the foundation of balance, coordination, and physical confidence, begins to rebuild. This is not a slow process. Research on proprioceptive training shows measurable improvements in balance and joint position sense within weeks, sometimes within days, when the training involves novel movement challenges. The system is not broken, it is dormant. And it wakes up fast when you give it a reason to. There is something here that I find deeply moving, and I want to name it before we go further. The body is not a machine that wears out. It is an intelligent system that adapts to whatever demands you place on it. Place monotonous demands, and it adapts by becoming monotonous, by shutting down the systems that are not being used, by consolidating the patterns that are being repeated, by entering the low-cost, low-engagement mode that we experience as aging. Place novel demands, and it adapts by becoming novel, by waking up dormant systems, by building new pathways, by entering the high-cost, high-engagement mode that we experience as vitality. You are not decaying. You are adapting to the poverty of your inputs. Change the inputs, and the adaptation changes with them. This is the deeper meaning of the idea that aging is a program. It is not that someone deliberately coded your body to fall apart. It is that the body's adaptation machinery, which is extraordinarily powerful, has been given nothing to adapt to. The same steps, the same surfaces, the same joint angles, the same neural pathways, day after day, year after year, until the system that was designed for dynamic, responsive, full-spectrum engagement has narrowed itself into a thin corridor of automated repetition. The program is not malicious. It is efficient. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is to conserve energy by automating anything that is repeated often enough. The tragedy is not that the program exists. The tragedy is that most people never give the system a reason to run a different program. Walking backward is not the only way to interrupt the pattern. Any genuinely novel movement challenge will trigger similar effects. But backward walking has a unique advantage, which is that it is the exact inversion of the most deeply automated pattern in your motor repertoire. It does not just introduce novelty, it directly reverses the specific pattern that has been consolidating for your entire life. The cerebellum does not just encounter something new, it encounters the mirror image of its most entrenched program. And the error signals generated by that specific reversal are uniquely potent because they are not random noise. They are systematic inversions of the most deeply grooved predictions in the system. This is why the Hermetic principle of reversal is not just a philosophical abstraction. It is a precise instruction. Do not just introduce novelty. Reverse the dominant pattern. The reversal generates a specific kind of error signal that the brain is maximally responsive to, because it contradicts the predictions that the brain is most confident about. And the more confident the prediction, the larger the error signal when it is contradicted, and the more powerful the neuroplastic response. I want to offer you a practice now, not a theory, a practice, something you can begin today and continue for the rest of your life, something that costs nothing, requires no equipment, and takes less time than brewing a cup of tea. Find a space in your home where you have at least 10 feet of clear floor behind you. A hallway is ideal. Remove any obstacles. If you are outdoors, choose a flat, even surface where you can see the ground and there is nothing to trip over. Begin standing still. Feel your feet on the ground. Take 3 slow breaths, each one deeper than the last. On the exhale, let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your eyes relax. Now begin walking backward. Slowly. Much slower than you think is necessary. Reach the toes of one foot back behind you. Let the ball of the foot find the ground. Roll the weight slowly from the ball to the heel. Feel every phase of the contact. Then lift the other foot and repeat. Keep your chest lifted. Keep your gaze forward, not down. Let your arms move naturally. The first thing you will notice is instability. You will wobble. You will feel uncertain. You will have the urge to look behind you, to speed up, to grab something for support. Resist these urges. The instability is the signal. It is the prediction error. It is the cerebellum firing correction signals it has not fired in decades. The wobble is not weakness. It is the sound of your brain waking up. Walk backward for the length of the hallway or the space you have chosen. Then walk forward to the starting point. Then backward again. Do this for 3 minutes. Time it. 3 minutes, no more, no less, at least for the first 2 weeks. During those 3 minutes, place your entire attention on the sensation of movement. Feel the muscles of the calves and thighs engaging in unfamiliar patterns. Feel the ankle stabilizers working. Feel the subtle shifts in your center of gravity. Feel the ground beneath you as if you have never felt it before, because in this direction, you have not. After 2 weeks, add 1 minute. After another 2 weeks, add another minute. Build gradually to 10 minutes if you wish, but never rush the progression. The value is not in the duration. It is in the quality of attention. 3 minutes of fully attended backward walking is worth more than 30 minutes of distracted forward walking, because the neural demand, the error signaling, the full system engagement is incomparably higher. If you have knee pain, you may notice something within the first week. The pain may decrease, not because you have healed the joint, but because you have changed the loading pattern, redistributed the compressive forces, and allowed synovial fluid to reach cartilage surfaces that have been starved. If the pain increases, stop. This practice is not appropriate for everyone, and anyone with significant balance impairment or active joint injury should consult a qualified professional before attempting it. But for the vast majority of people, the experience will be one of surprising relief, as if the knee has been waiting for this specific stimulus without knowing how to ask for it. If you have been feeling mentally foggy, slow, or as though time is passing too quickly, pay attention to the minutes immediately after your practice. Many people report a window of unusual clarity, a sense of time slowing, a feeling of being more present than they have been in months. This is not placebo. This is the prefrontal cortex, freshly activated by a task that demanded its full participation, carrying that activation into the minutes that follow. It is the neurochemical aftermath of a genuine learning event. BDNF and dopamine and norepinephrine circulating through a brain that has just been reminded what it feels like to build rather than maintain. Do this every day. Not because someone told you to, but because once you feel the difference, you will not want to stop. The body knows the difference between stagnation and growth. It has always known. It has simply been waiting for you to give it a reason to choose growth again. Consider listening to this again tomorrow morning, before the day begins, to let these ideas settle into your body rather than just your mind. Or send it to someone you care about who has been feeling stuck, physically or mentally, caught in patterns they cannot name. When you share something like this, you are not just passing along information. You are creating a ripple. The act of offering someone a new way to understand their own bodies reinforces that understanding in you, deepens the neural pathways you just activated, and extends the field of awareness beyond your own nervous system into someone else's. That is not a small thing. That is how coherence spreads. There is one more thing I want to leave you with, and it is perhaps the most important thing I have said in this entire exploration. The reason this works is not because backward walking is magic. It is because your body is more intelligent than you have been treating it. The systems that govern balance, coordination, spatial awareness, joint health, cognitive flexibility, and the subjective experience of time are not fragile mechanisms that break down with age. They are adaptive systems that respond to demand. They have been declining not because they are old, but because they are bored. They have been given nothing to respond to, nothing to solve, nothing to build toward. And so they have done what any intelligent system does in the absence of demand. They have powered down. The reversal is not a trick. It is a conversation. You are speaking to your nervous system in the only language it fully understands, the language of movement. And you are saying something it has not heard in a very long time. You are saying, "Wake up, pay attention. There is something here that requires your full participation." And the nervous system, because it was designed for exactly this kind of engagement, responds. Not slowly, not grudgingly, immediately. With the full force of a system that has been waiting, perhaps for decades, for someone to ask it to do what it was built to do. The Hermetic tradition teaches that the universe is mental, that consciousness is the fundamental substrate, and that the physical world is a reflection of the patterns held in mind. Whether or not you accept that metaphysics, the practical implication is the same. The patterns you hold in your body, the movements you repeat, the neural grooves you deepen. These are not neutral. They are instructions. They tell your biology what to build and what to dismantle, what to maintain and what to let go. Change the pattern, and you change the instruction. Reverse the pattern, and you reverse the trajectory. You are not aging. You are repeating, and the moment you stop repeating, the moment you introduce a movement so unfamiliar that your entire nervous system must engage to meet it, you are no longer on the trajectory of decline. You are on the trajectory of renewal. Not because you have found a secret, because you have remembered something your body never forgot. The reset is not something that happens to you. It is something you activate. And it begins, as the deepest things always do, with a single step in the direction you least expect. If this exploration opened something in you, if you felt even a flicker of that recognition, the body remembering what the mind had forgotten, take that into the rest of your day. Subscribe to this channel if you want to continue walking this path together. Leave a comment describing what you noticed during those first backward steps, because your experience, spoken aloud, becomes real in a way that a private thought cannot. Share this with someone whose body is asking for something their routine is not providing. And tomorrow morning, before the day has a chance to automate you, stand in your hallway, take a breath, and take one step backward. The program can be interrupted. Your body already knows how. You just have to give it permission to begin.